I sat across from a client last year who made $140,000 a year, 6 figures, a good job, a nice apartment, a car he was proud of. And when I pulled up his numbers, he had $312 in savings. Not $312,000, $312. And the wild part, he wasn't reckless. He didn't gamble. He didn't have some secret addiction. He wasn't buying yachts. He was just doing what everyone around him was doing. Small decisions repeated 1,000 times that quietly drained him. I've spent years working in accounting and investment banking, and now helping regular people fix their finances one-on-one, and I keep seeing the same invisible habits show up again and again. Not the obvious ones like, stop buying coffee, that advice is tired and honestly kind of useless. I'm talking about the deeper, sneakier habits that even financially smart people fall into. So in this video, I'm breaking down 10 money habits that are quietly keeping you poor, why they trap you, and exactly what to do instead. Stick around for number 7, because that one single-handedly cost my client $40,000 over 5 years, and he had no idea it was happening. Let's get into it. Let's start with the one that gets almost everybody, even people who consider themselves good with money lifestyle creep. Here's how it works. You get a raise. Let's say you go from $60,000 to $75,000 a year. That's an extra $15,000 on paper. That should be $15,000 more you could be saving or investing every single year. But what actually happens? You move to a slightly nicer apartment because now you can afford it. You upgrade your car. You start eating out more because you're working hard. You deserve it. You subscribe to a few more streaming services, maybe a gym with valet parking. Individually, none of these decisions feel big, but add them up, and that entire $15,000 raise just evaporates into a slightly nicer version of the same life you were already living, and your savings rate stays exactly where it was, or worse, it goes down. This is what's called lifestyle inflation, and it's dangerous because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like success. You're not doing anything wrong, you're just upgrading. But your net worth doesn't care how nice your apartment is. It only cares about the gap between what you earn and what you keep. Here's the fix, and it's simple math. Every time your income goes up, decide in advance what percentage goes to savings and investments before you let your lifestyle absorb it. A good baseline is banking at least 50% of every raise. If you get that $15,000 bump, $7,500 goes straight into investments or debt payoff, automatically, before you even see it in your checking account. The other half, you're free to enjoy new furniture, a nicer vacation, whatever you want. You still get to live better. You just don't let 100% of your progress get swallowed by comfort. This one surprises people. A lot of Americans are obsessed with their credit score going up, checking it constantly, feeling proud when it crosses 750, 820. And look, a good credit score matters. It affects your mortgage rate, your car loan rate, sometimes even your insurance premiums and job applications. But here's the trap: people start treating the score itself as the goal, instead of what the score is supposed to represent: responsible use of credit. So they open new credit cards just to build credit. They carry small balances because someone told them it helps your utilization, and they lose track of the actual mechanics. Let's clear up the biggest myth right now. You do not need to carry a balance and pay interest to build credit. That is a myth pushed, whether intentionally or not, by an industry that profits when you carry debt. You can pay your statement in full every single month and still build excellent credit, because what matters is on-time payment history and keeping your utilization low, not paying interest. The real cost of chasing score for score's sake shows up when people open 5, 6, 7 credit cards to optimize their score and lose track of due dates. One missed payment can undo years of good history. Or they close old cards without thinking about it, which shortens their average account age and can actually hurt the score they were trying to protect. Here's what to actually do. Pick 2 to 3 cards you understand well. Set every single one to autopay the full statement balance, and check your score maybe once a quarter, not for validation, but as a diagnostic tool, the same way you'd check your car's oil level. It's a gauge, not a trophy. This is probably the most expensive sentence in personal finance. I'll start investing once I have more saved up. I understand the logic. It feels responsible. Build a cushion first, then invest. And to be fair, you do want an emergency fund before you go heavy into the market. But so many people use "I don't have enough" as a permanent excuse rather than a temporary one. Months turn into years. Here's why that's so costly. It's not about how much you start with. It's about how long your money gets to compound. Let's do real numbers. Say you invest just $200 a month starting at age 25, averaging a historical market return of around 7% after inflation. By 65, that's roughly $480,000 from contributions that only add up to about $96,000 out of pocket. The rest, nearly $384,000, is pure compounding, growth on growth. Now take the exact same $200 a month, but you wait until 35 to start instead of 25. Just 10 years later, that same math only gets you to roughly $227,000 by 65. Same monthly amount, same return, same discipline, but waiting 10 years cost you over $250,000. That's the price of "I'll start when I have more." The habit to build isn't save up a big pile, then invest it. It's start investing something small immediately, even before you feel ready, then increase it as your income grows. Even $50 a month in a Roth IRA or a 401k starting today beats $500 a month starting in 5 years. Time in the market is doing most of the heavy lifting. You're just the one who has to show up and press start. Most people don't actually make money decisions with their brain. They make them with their mood. Had a bad day at work? You order takeout because you deserve it. Feeling anxious about the economy? You panic, sell your investments right when the market dips, locking in a loss you didn't need to take. Feeling confident because your paycheck just landed. You buy something impulsively because you're riding a high. This is called emotional spending and emotional investing. And it's one of the biggest wealth killers there is, not because any single decision is catastrophic, but because it removes consistency from your financial life. Wealth building rewards boring, repeatable behavior. Emotions are the opposite of boring and repeatable. The clearest example is what happens during market downturns. Historically, the investors who do the worst aren't the ones who invest in risky assets. They're the ones who panic and sell during a crash, then re-enter the market late after prices have already recovered. Buying high after having sold low, they let fear make a math decision. Here's the practical fix: build rules for yourself in advance. When you're calm, so that emotional you doesn't have to make decisions in the moment. For spending, something like a 24-hour rule: any non-essential purchase over $100 waits 24 hours before you buy it. Half the time, the urge passes. For investing, automate your contributions so they happen on a schedule regardless of what the market is doing that week. And genuinely avoid checking your portfolio daily. You wouldn't check on a tree you planted every single hour to see if it grew. Same principle. This one is everywhere in America specifically, because so much of the economy here is built around financing. Cars, furniture, phones, even mattresses now, everything is sold to you as a monthly payment instead of a total price. It's only $650 a month, sounds so much smaller than $42,000 car. And that's exactly the point, it's designed to feel smaller. Dealerships and retailers know that if they can get your monthly payment low enough, you'll say yes, even if the total cost, once you add interest over 5 or 6 years, is wildly more than you'd ever agree to pay up front. This is how people end up car poor, driving a car that costs more than their entire emergency fund. Financed over 72 months with an interest rate that means they're paying thousands extra just for the privilege of not paying cash. And because the monthly number feels manageable, it doesn't register as a problem, even while it's quietly eating 15 to 20% of their take-home pay every single month for 6 years straight. The habit to build is simple, but requires discipline before any major financed purchase. Calculate the total cost, including interest, not just the monthly payment. Ask, what is this actually costing me by the time I own it outright? If a $30,000 car turns into $37,000 with interest, that's the real number to compare against your budget and your goals, not the friendly-sounding $550 a month.